Very good morning, class. I am your computer teacher, Jyoti. Yesterday, we started the chapter 3rd, that is History of Computers. We study about the history of computers, that which was the first calculating device, first mechanical device, who is known as the father of computer, and all that. So, abacus was our first device which was invented in China for addition and subtraction purpose. Napier bones developed by Sir John Napier, and that machine can only multiply. Okay, rods were used there, and they are made up of bones. That rods were made up of bones. That is why the device's name is Napier bones. Then we have Pascal's machine or Pascaline. A 19-year-old Frenchman, Blaise Pascal, developed that, and it was a calculating machine only. And wheels were used there, gears were there, and dials were there in that machine. After that, we studied about Babbage's analytical engine. I told you another name of Lord Babbage. His name is Charles Babbage, and he is known as father of computer science. So keep in mind that thing. That is a very important question. Who is the father of computer science? It was the first mechanical device created by him, analytical engine. That is why he is known as father of computer, because this device has all the all the parts that a computer must have, like input device. It has storage, a CPU, and output device. That is why this is the first mechanical computer, and the person who created is known as father of computer. Now let's move to first generation. In the first generation of computer, you can see that integrator and calculator, ENIAC. This was the computer of first generation. So nowadays we use microprocessors, but then when microprocessors were not introduced, what did people use? Vacuum tubes. See this. These are vacuum tubes. A normal computer at that time used 17,000 to 18,000 vacuum tubes in a single computer. And you can see that this computer is that much large that it occupies the space of one room, one large room. That much big computer. Nobody can purchase it. It is very larger in size. It was very expensive. The first generation computer used vacuum tubes. So underline this, vacuum tubes. If someone asks what is used by first generation computer, then answer is vacuum tube. These computers relied on machine language. Which language was used? Machine language. The lowest level programming language. What is machine language? The low level of programming language, which are understood by the computer. So computer understood low level language or machine language at that times of vacuum tubes to perform operations and could solve only one problem at a time. There could be only one. There was a one thing, that if you have one problem, so one problem can be solved only at one time, not multiple calculations. Like in today's life, we can do multiple calculation with the help of calculator, computer, or any device, any calculating device. It was used to calculate one problem at one time. If there is a failure, was a failure of one vacuum tube from 18,000 or 7,000. If one vacuum tube fails, what happens then? All the tubes will fail. There will be no answer of the calculation we want to perform. These computers were huge, very expensive to operate, and consumed a great deal of electricity. They consume a lot of electricity to start these computers. And here are two examples given at the end, UNIVAC and ENIAC. UNIVAC UNIVAC and ENIAC are the example of first generation computer. These are the name of those computer which used vacuum tubes in first generation. Okay, and you have to change here from your pencil, change that the first generation was from 1945 to 1956. 1945 to 1956. Now come to second generation computer. You can easily see the transistors given here, these small, very small like devices. The second generation computer used transistor, we call them transistor. The transistor was far superior to the vacuum tube. The size of that transistor is smaller than the vacuum tube. Now in this generation our computers consume less space than first generation computer. They have become smaller in size as compared to first generation. They become faster, they became cheaper, more energy efficient. They do not take that much electricity, they do not consume that much electricity also, and more reliable than the first generation computers. These were also the first computers that stored their tubes. There were storage device, but they cannot save that much data. But in transistor they can easily store the instructions. The IBM 1401 is an example of second generation computers. What is the example of second generation computer? IBM 1401. You have all listened, maybe you have listened about IBM. It is a company, it is a multinational company at Delhi and Gurgaon, and there are a lot of branches of this company. Okay, now move to third generation of computers. See this, the diagram, the picture given here, integrated circuits. This is how our chips look like. In this generation chips were introduced and we call them integrated circuits. These are integrated circuits or chip. The third generation computers use integrated circuits. Transistors used in these computers were much smaller. Now the size of transistor become and were placed in silicon chips, are made up of silicon chips. See, whenever a question arises regarding chip, there will be a material used, and that is silicon used in chips. So always keep in mind that silicon used in chips called semiconductors, which greatly increase the speed and efficiency of computers. These silicon chips increased the work efficiency and the speed of computers of working. Computers for the first time became accessible to a mass users because they were smaller and cheaper than the earlier ones. Now anyone can access the computers because the computers of third generation that used integrated circuits become smaller in size and cheaper, not costlier like first generation computer, second generation computer. But they have not introduced to our homes and schools. No, they were smaller in size, they were cheaper in size, but not everyone can purchase them. And the example of this is UNIVAC 1100 and System 360. Just underline them. UNIVAC 1100 and System 360 are examples of third generations. These computers were only used by the big organizations only. Normal people cannot afford them. Now we will study about fourth generation computers. So in fourth generation computers, which started from 1971 and it is till now present. So there come microprocessor. We introduced to microprocessor. I show this image of microprocessor when we were studying about CPU, central processing unit, and motherboard. We were studying about motherboard in our previous chapter. There I showed you an image of microprocessor. As thousands of integrated circuits were built onto a single silicon chip. A lot of chips were merged and a microprocessor is formed, and it is a silicon chip. What is the first generation computer? Filled an entire room, could now fit in the palm of a hand. Microprocessor is so small that we can take this in our palm, in our hand, that much smaller in size. But the generation first computers were so large, occupied that much space, very expensive, consume a lot of electricity. As compared to first generation, our fourth generation computers are so cheap, so small in size, and their microprocessor can be easily fit into hand. Now our personal computers, our desktop, laptops, introduced in this generation, in fourth generation, the size of that integrated circuit become small and smaller as the generations are coming. So computers became very powerful with large storage capacity. So there is a large storage capacity. Now computer could be linked together to form networks and share resource. We can easily share the resource. We can also connect to the internet with the help of our computers. So this all comes under our fourth generation computer. Now let's study about the last generation of computer. This is the last, but not the last one. A lot of generations will come after this generation, but in which generation we are living? This is the first generation of computers, and you can see the picture given here. A robot you can see here. I will show you one more picture I have. See, the time we are living, this is the time, or this generation is based upon artificial intelligence. And which things comes under artificial intelligence? Robotics. Now we have listened that this company has launched a robot, and this company has launched. So what are these? These are the example of artificial intelligence. We have seen Alexa. We have seen ad of Alexa on TV, that it is a kind of voice recognizer. If we ask that Alexa play that song, that will play the song. So what is that? That is a voice recognizer. It is a part of our artificial intelligence. That is the latest technology of this generation. We are using it today. Artificial intelligence are still in development. Still it is developing. It is not the end of computer science. It will also introduce a lot of devices which are beyond artificial intelligence in coming years, and so on, such as voice recognition, that I told you that whenever you ask Google or Alexa that find these things, that will convert that into text or find that thing. Okay, these are capable of performing highly sophisticated operations at a very fast speed. You can see that whenever you tap the button on Google, I will show you, wait, I will show you that whenever I ask what is artificial intelligence, see this, it recognizes the voice, it searches for that, and the working speed is very fast in fifth generation of computers. The goal of fifth generation computing is to develop devices that respond to natural language input and are capable of learning and self-organization. And what is the aim? What is the goal of fifth generation computers? Is to develop those devices which can respond to humans, which can understand us, that what a human wants to, or what a human needs. To fulfill the need of this generation, artificial intelligence is developing a lot of devices, and it will continue. Okay, I hope you got this chapter, you understand this chapter very well, and if you have any problem you can ask me. In next class we will definitely do its exercise and question answers. Till then, read this chapter and Google related to the generation of computers, and tomorrow we will do its question answers. Okay, till then, take care, bye bye.